Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing my February 2026 reading wrap up. I am like a month behind. It is April 1st today. So I am way behind. I'm going to try to get 2 videos done very quickly. I'm on my way out to my mom's to get my to see my kids, take them to a Easter egg hunt, and then take them back home for all their activities that they have to do tomorrow. So I thought I'd just pop in here. I've got my notes here, and I'm gonna do February and then I'm gonna do March. So if you see me in the same clothes, that's why. Anyway, okay, so my February, if I remember correctly, I had a lot of really good reads. They are from cozy mysteries to dystopian sci-fi to pirate fantasy, and it was just a very mixed reading month for me. Really, I am really into the sci-fi this year. This is my sci-fi year, which I love sci-fi. I have always been into, well, maybe not always, but as an adult, I have been sci-fi fan. And I think I've been really exploring that genre of bookdom of literature, I guess. There were a couple of all-time favorites in this month, I believe, and a couple that I was very happy to be done with. So let's jump in. All right, book 1 that I read for February was The Butcher's Masquerade, which is the 5th book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. It's chaotic, it is violent as usual, and absolutely hilarious. So many laugh out loud moments, just hilarious. If you like lit RPGs with lots of humor and action, this series it's a fun ride. But it is very crude and violent, so just, read the trigger warnings. The next book I read was the book 6 in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series by Matt Denneman. It is The Eye of the Bedlam Bride, and I really thought book 5 was my favorite up to that point, but this one was definitely my favorite so far. It was somehow better than even the book 5. And the stakes are starting to rise in this book, and we're starting to see more of the big picture that's happening kind of in the background. It's very fun series. Both of those books I gave 5 stars. I love this series. I didn't think I would like it, but absolutely. But use caution. And only a small group of people I think are really going to like them, because they are very violent, but they're also basically an RPG, and so a lot of people, it's just not their thing, and that's understandable, but apparently it's mine. All right, book 3 was Agatha Christie's A Murder is Announced. I love Miss Marple. She's probably my favorite of the Agatha Christie characters, and I would love to be friends with her, but that might be risky and dangerous because people seem to die around her a lot. Now, this was not my favorite Christie novel, but I did like that Miss Marple kind of actually had a bigger role in this one. I gave it 4 stars. I probably should have given it closer to 3.5, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It was good, but not the best. Book 4 that I read was The Impossible Fortune by Richard Osman. It is the 5th book in the Thursday Murder Club series. I absolutely love this series. The characters are absolutely great. It's so cozy, but it's also a clever mystery. This one starts with a bomb at a wedding. Very dramatic. It's not as emotional as the previous book was, but it was still very good. I gave it 4.5 stars. There was a little something in the book that I didn't quite understand at the end. it wasn't that I didn't understand it. It's like, I'm not sure what happened. There's one little scene and one little part of this scene that I'm not understanding what happened. So that's probably on my part. And it also might have been a little bit of a cliffhanger for the next book. Sorry. Okay, the next book, book 6, was The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi, by Shannon Chakraborty. I absolutely love this book. This was a 5-star, blew it out of the park. Amazing world building, complex characters, an engaging plot, magic, pirates, sea monsters, everything you could want. Like, really, in a fantasy. And I'm not... For a long time I've said that I've liked fantasy, but I haven't found a book that I've really enjoyed. Like, I love Lord of the Rings and the Chronicles of Narnia and stuff, but a lot of the fantasy that gets really promoted these days, I cannot stand it. Cannot stand it. Like, I have DNF'd so many fantasy books, and I've read a lot of the ones that everybody talks about, and I'm like, I don't understand. I do not understand what people like about these books. I'm glad that people like them. I really am, because somebody needs to read them, but they are not for me. But this book, this subgenre of fantasy is right up my alley. It's exactly what I want in a fantasy, you know. If you don't know what the Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi are, you need to check it out. She is a middle-aged woman, female pirate, just after the Crusades, in kind of the southern Middle Eastern area and African... They're in the Indian Ocean. And it's a fantastic book. She gets drawn back into the life of piracy, and it's great. I'm going to turn my air conditioner on just a little bit. Hopefully last time I tried to film a video, my phone overheated because it was crazy hot out. It's not as hot today, but I'm going to turn my air conditioner on. The next book I read, was Firewalkers by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I love Adrian Tchaikovsky. There's just something about his writing I absolutely love. My husband is also a very sci-fi fantasy reader, but he's not enjoyed Tchaikovsky. And now I will say, I don't think I've ever given any of his books a 5-star rating, but there's something about his writing I just really, I kind of know what it is. He puts more into his world building than in his plot, and the plot seems like just a mechanism to explore his worlds, and I love that. I mean, I like a good plot, and if he had I don't know, but I love world building, and so yeah. Anyway, Firewalkers by Adrian Tchaikovsky. There is incredible world building in this book, on a dying Earth, and it's very immersive, but the ending was a little so confusing that I had to go back and re-listen to it multiple times, and I still had to Google and ChatGPT and try to figure out what the heck was happening, and apparently it's kind of left confusing in a way. But I loved the audiobook. Was absolutely amazing. Well, okay, the narration was absolutely wonderful. The ladies' accents were amazing. I don't know why I didn't put down here in my notes who did the narration, but the audiobook narrator for Firewalkers is 16,000 thumbs up. She's amazing. I will say, whoever edited the audiobook needed to spend a little more time editing, because there was several times where it was clear that she had stopped and paused so that the editor knew to take that section out and then would repeat what she had just said, and it didn't get taken out. So yes, I would recommend this book. It is a 4-star for me. The other thing about Adrian Tchaikovsky is every book of his that I have read, I have continued to think about over and over again after reading. A lot of times I don't rate those books very high, but they change something in my brain. They start rewiring something. And I like that. That's what I'm really looking for. It may not be the entertaining book that I, or what immediately I'm like, oh, I love this book. But it's one of those that as time goes along, some of those that you're like, yes, that's the best book ever I've read. That's my all-time favorite book. Later down, give it a year or two and you're like, it was fine. I'm not going to reread it or anything. But some of these other books that, you're like, well, it's not my favorite book, but it was good. They're the ones that really work on your brain for a long time. And you're like, yes, I would totally reread that and see what I missed. And if I could, really dig deeper into it. Which to me is a more lasting, impressionable book than the others. It's better. I would rather have a lower immediate thought on the book and it stick with me a long time. Yeah, I think that's why people go back and re-rate a lot of their books, because of that. Okay, book 8 was The Practice of the Presence of God by Brother Lawrence. This is the oldest book I have ever read, other than like the Bible. And it is a collection of letters from a 17th century monk. And okay, might talk more about this book another time, but this book, for many years in the subsect, I guess, of Christianity that I was in for a while, had a lot of fear about this book and would warn people, don't read this book. It's very bad for you. Okay, so I read it. Nothing was bad about it. Okay, so my phone overheated again because I think it's right in the sun. So I am going to finish this up holding my phone. So I'm going to try and not get anybody's car in. Okay, so The Practice of the Presence of God. It had some meaningful ideas, but at times I think it could have been very overwhelming and felt more like legalism than helpful. Sorry, I'm very close. Having said that, a lot of people have said this is like one of their all-time favorite books and that it meant so much to them. So I would never warn somebody to read the book. I wouldn't necessarily say, hey, I recommend it, but it's impacted a lot of people's lives, so in positive ways. So there's something about it for a group of people that it's very important to them. So, I gave it 3 stars, but I'll also say this was an ebook that I read, and it took me months. This is why I listen to audiobooks. This book took me months to read, because it's a physical book, or, well, I guess it's not really a physical book, it's an ebook, but I'm reading it with my eyeballs, and I read it very slowly, and I get easily distracted, and I can't concentrate when I'm actually reading most of the time. And this is why I mainly listen to audiobooks. Okay, so book 9 was my least favorite book of the month. I gave it 2.5 stars, and I was being generous, in my opinion. It is Agatha Christie's The Big Four. This one felt so chaotic in a bad way and hard to follow. It was so different from other Christie books that I have read. I was very glad to finish it. I will say it seemed so illogical and chaotic, and for a Christie book, it did not feel like a Christie book. I liked the kind of idea behind it, like what she would have pitched somebody, saying, hey, this is the book I'm going to write. Like, that kind of sounded good, but the execution, not for me. I could not tell you what happened in the end and how we got there, because I was like, I don't understand what has happened. I feel like I am just getting through this. The 10th book, and the last book, I think, for February, was Ogres by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This was part of the series, I think it's Firewalkers, and gosh, what was the other one? They're not actually a series, I found out. It was just a collection. I kept seeing it pitched as if it was a series. It is not a series by Adrian Tchaikovsky. It is a grouping of his, they called them the Terrible Worlds books. And they're kind of, I'm trying to think of what the other one was. Was it Ironclads? I think it was Ironclads. Anyway, and then Ogres was the third in that book, in that sequence of book, not sequence, like a collection, I guess. Ogres by Adrian Tchaikovsky. It was very unique. It was written in second person, which is hard to do, and it worked for me. I know a lot of people have complained about that, but for me, I thought it was great. Very clever. It's dark, it's unsettling, but very thought-provoking. It was short and impactful. I thought it is about, should I even tell you what it's about? It is about humanity, and basically humanity's back in the Middle Ages or whatever. Like, there's no cars or anything like that, and it's in the future. Some kind of, they started like genetically engineering people, and the people who agreed to it became what they refer to as ogres. And now those humans are basically enslaving all the rest of the humans who did not take the genetic modifications. Anyway, it's very interesting. Highly recommend. I gave it 4 stars, so that was pretty good. Okay, so that is all the books that I read in February. My favorites being The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi and the Dungeon Crawler World books. Those are going to always be. My biggest disappointment was Agatha Christie's The Big Four. So yeah, so let me know what you've been reading or what you read in February, or if you've read any of those books and agreed or disagreed, or have other suggestions that might kind of follow along with some of the ones that I enjoyed. I'd love to hear them. So yeah, I'm gonna film my March one here, and then I will get going to see my kiddos. Okay, several days later, I was finally editing everything and about to upload. Actually, I had started the uploading onto YouTube and then realized I completely left out a book. I read a total of 10 books. The book that I left out was To Be Taught If Fortunate by Becky Chambers. This is the first Becky Chambers book that I've read the entire book of. I had started The Wild Robot, not The Wild Robot. I still haven't read that book either. The robot book, the first one. I can't remember what it's called. Something about a robot. I'd started that one like 2 years ago and got like a couple of minutes in and just knew that I was not in the mood for that one. So I switched to another one, soft DNFing that one for the time, and I've just never picked it up again. I have recently heard someone say it's a more philosophical book than some of her other books. So I'm like, ooh, I'm really into like philosophy right now. So I think I will try to pick that one up at some point this year. And I literally last night started The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I just started that one late last night too. So I'm only like, I don't even think I'm an hour in. Anyway, so I read To Be Taught If Fortunate. It's a very short book, but it packs so much in such a small book. And I really liked it. I don't think I gave it the highest of ratings or anything like that, but it's definitely one of those books that makes me think a lot. And just like some of the other books that I've read recently. I think I even talked about it in this video. If it wasn't in this video, it's in the next month's video. March's video, which was last month. So anyway, it really, to me, it focused a lot on, you know, what is your identity? Like, how do you define your identity? And what is a human, and what, you know, how much changes before you're not really a human? Or is there a way that you can change so much that, I don't know. I don't know really where I'm going with that. It's been 2 months since I've read the book, so I would like to discuss the book more, obviously. But I don't want to accidentally spoil anything. So I will plan on making another video soon, discussing it in a little more detail before I completely forget everything about the book. I plan on doing that with a couple of other books as well that have just really, I haven't rated them super high because I don't feel like they were necessarily the best written books, or that I just didn't necessarily enjoy them. But they are books that have kind of tweaked something in my brain, or caused a part of my brain to fire and be like, ooh, we need to think about that more. So yeah, it's funny because a lot of the books I feel like I read in January and March, I'm all over the place today. In February and March really had me considering and thinking about how we identify ourselves and what it necessarily means to be human, and those questions, the philosophical questions of life. So yeah, I will insert this into the video. Probably just at the end. So I hope you enjoy the rest of this video. Also, tomorrow is my birthday, and my sister got me this shirt. It says, it's hard to read it. It says, "Please be patient with me. I'm from the 1900s." So yes, I am from the 1900s. And this was a much loved video game from my days. Okay, have a good rest of your weekend and get some good reading done. Bye.